Has Dr. Wendy Osefo been exposed? As I mentioned to you before, and if you attended the Kempire After Dark, the Villain Era live show in New York City, or you had the live stream, then you heard this tea that our friend, the Brooke Ashley, exposed. Brooke shared a story about a recent interaction with Real Housewives of Potomac star, Dr. Wendy Osefo.
Here we go now.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news in music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So, as I said to you before, if you watched our Real Housewives of Potomac recap, then you already heard me allude that you should go watch the Brooke Ashley's recap of Real Housewives of Potomac. So, just an FYI, I will be, as you know we always do here, cite our sources. So, in the description will be Brooke's YouTube channel and the video where she talks about this. So you can go watch it, give her a follow, give her support, all of that. So let me get into what I need to share in regards to this story. So as I said to you before, I first heard the story from Brooke directly. Literally, I think maybe like several days after she attended this event. And I said to myself, I'm not shocked, Brooke. I had to, because I'm really at like a vault. When I hear stuff, when people tell me stuff, I don't say anything unless they tell me I can share it. So I've heard things about Dr. Wendy behind the scenes from just general people and people that are other Bravo celebrities. And I was like, But you know what? When it comes to when people tell me stuff about other people, I always try to base my opinion on my own experience with those individuals. So when Brooke told me this story, I said, Brooke, I'm going to be honest with you. I've heard things before and I'm not completely shocked. And especially because when we talk about some of the things that have been said about Dr. Wendy from the other women, but we kind of take that with a grain of salt because a lot of us were like, okay, you don't like her because of this or that. But when Brooke told me this, and if you follow Brooke's channel, if you follow Brooke's critiques and reviews of Real Housewives of Potomac, she has always been pro Dr. Wendy to the point where people feel like Dr. Wendy was paying her. But it's better that you hear this story from Brooke and not for me. So I'm going to play the audio of this, but like I said, you can watch our full recap in the video and everything like that on her YouTube channel. We're gonna stop and go and listen to this, and we're going to use this under fair use. Brooke, don't report me.
Shout out to everybody who was at Kempire's live show where I opened up for him last month. I gave you this tea. And I feel like this story time will go nicely with what we see regarding Wendy and Kiana's friendship. But again, let's get on to the story. So y'all know that I'm always out here in these Bravo streets. I'm always invited to different events, premiere parties, red carpets, the whole nine. This past August, I was invited to the DirecTV summer party, and you had different housewives there. Alexia and Gertie were there. We had Meredith and Lisa, and we had Wendy there from Potomac. So now,
and I will say this, I don't go to a lot of these events, but when I do, this is also a great place, not only just to get information about what's going on, tea from not always the Bravo celebrities, but some of the producers that are there, they will drop a little tea as well. That's how I found out about Summer House Martha's Vineyard. You remember? That was at the first BravoCon that I ever went to, and I got that tea from one of the executives letting me know there's a show that's coming. It's going to be sort of like a spinoff. They didn't give me the title. They didn't give me the name. I can't remember if they told me it was in Martha's Vineyard. I think they did. I can't remember. But a lot of times at these events, it also lets you kind of get to know people's personality. And if they're nice and like, oh, sometimes people will surprise you. These Bravo celebrities will surprise you.
again, if you've been watching me for quite some time, you know that every time I've seen Wendy at BravoCon, at different events, it's always been...
And Brooke literally, in her video, posts the different photos and video of, I think this is at least 2 or 3 times that she's met Dr. Wendy and they've interacted. And I was there during one of those interactions. I think this was BravoCon. And I remember Brooke was going to say, I'm going to go say hello to Dr. Wendy. But I knew what I've said about Dr. Wendy. So I was like, I'm going to keep my distance. I saw the fine Happy Eddie on the side supporting his wife. And so I'm being flashed back to that moment. I was like, oh, yeah, I remember when Brooke went over it. And it was all love. It was all love.
in love. She's always complimented me on my channel and how much she appreciates the support that I've shown her throughout the years. But this time things went differently, which took me by surprise. So I walked.
And I'll tell you this, Brooke was so surprised. She was so shocked. And I get that because sometimes, and this is the reverse. For those that don't know, I was just on the Humble Brag podcast with Crystal Cumming-Goff and Cynthia Bailey. And, you know, I've talked about both of them during our recaps over the years. And Crystal surprised me because I was prepared. I was prepared to come into that conversation and be like, are we fighting, Crystal? Are we good? And Crystal's like, no, I respect everything that you said. And I was just like, those are the great moments. But then there's the moments when you think that, no, there should be no beef here with any of these housewives or behind the scenes people. And then all of a sudden there's beef and you're like, oh. So for Brooke, I can imagine she was really thrown off by this.
Up to Wendy saying, hey, you know, good to see you. And we're talking about the season. I'm asking her, what should I expect? And she's telling me, you know, giving me a little bit of tea. Stacey's in the hot seat for the majority of this season. And then she goes on to say that Monique actually surprises everybody this season and how we, the viewers, might actually like her. I was surprised about that because you know where I fall when it came.
Well, we won't know if we will like her or not. First of all, she's not showing up for pictures. She's not showing up for the premiere event. Also, Wendy has not seen the final edit of the season. So you may have liked her during the season. We shall see if production likes her when they edit this season.
To Monique and Candace when season 5 happened, but we're not here to talk about that. Now, mind you, I always bring my mom as a +1. So my mom is standing next to me while this is going on. So again, she's talking to me about the season. You know, conversation is going well for the most part. We take a picture, me, her, Gertie, and my mom. So we take the picture, everything's all good. And then she says to me, you know, you're mean.
Wait a minute, like it's not even as if she went to Brooke and said, can I just talk to you about something? I'm feeling a type of way. But to come out and be like, you're mean. And this is not her first interaction with Brooke. So at the very least, give Brooke some grace.
So I'm like, you must be talking about the Brooke Ashley from accounting because surely you're not talking about me, the Brooke Ashley here on YouTube being mean to you. So y'all know me, I don't bite my tongue, I don't mince words. So I'm just like, wait, what? What do you mean by that? Are you joking? And she's like, no, you're mean. So again, I'm looking around and my mom is in shock because she's like, So I ask again, how have I been mean to you? Can you give me some examples of where you feel like I've been mean? Let me know. Because again, I'm here to provide commentary and some laughs. I'm not here to tear anybody down. I'm respectful. I try to be as fair as possible. You've never heard me call any housewife out of their names. I just give my opinion on what I see for 44 minutes every week, and I keep it at that. So then she says, well, you know, I don't watch your channel anyway. My people watch, and they come back.
That part took me out. When Brooke told me she said that, I was like, you know what that was. That was her being condescending. I don't even watch your channel. Well, no one watches your channel, Dr. Wendy. Oh, are you bringing that back for this season, or have you left it for dead on the YouTube streets?
To me and tell me things that you've said, and they're mean. So I just said, wait, what? And in the same cadence as Dwight Eubanks from Atlanta, and who are these fabulous people who watch my channel? Who? And what are your people hearing? Because clearly they need their ears checked if they're saying that I'm bashing you when I'm not doing that. So I was really...
And here's the thing, especially because she's met Brooke multiple times, and someone saying, oh, you know, Brooke's mean to you. Wouldn't you, before you even bring this to someone, and I'm not saying not everyone does that, but because you've interacted with this person before and it's been all love, wouldn't you go and, let me see if they're saying, if she really is saying anything mean about me. I just feel like that was just her way of, she probably didn't like one thing that Brooke said. And I don't know. Even Brooke was like, I don't know what I could have said.
Taken aback by that. We said goodbye to each other. I float around the party and I just keep that in the back of my head. So because Wendy and I follow each other on Instagram, I slid in her DMs and I say to her, hey, can you give me some clarification on how I've been mean, because I've been supportive of you. Again, let me know where I've offended you, where you would call me mean. Surprise, surprise, there's no response. So the reason in me telling this story is to let you know that if it appears like my support has dropped off when it comes to certain people, that's why. Because if you've been watching me for any length of time, especially Potomac, y'all know I went hard in the paint for Wendy and Candace. On top of that, I think it's funny that I'm so mean, but yet you had a castmate who assaulted you, never apologized to you,
Hey,
and
Mia.
then another castmate said, well, I'm happy that it happened to you because I don't like you. So that wasn't mean, but me commenting on what I see every week is mean, despite me being on your side, rallying around the...
And mind you, again, Wendy had a good last season. Even I was sort of like, yeah, Wendy was fun, light energy last season. So what could it have been? I'm thinking maybe about her YouTube channel. Maybe that could be possibly. Did she even promote the YouTube channel? I think she did. I think she had a little bit of a storyline in regards to the Wendy, the Dr. Wendy show. But even so, again, I don't know what Brooke could have said beyond like, girl, like, why are you leaving your channel for dead? Do something with it. You have a platform.
Troop saying, oh my gosh, it's a double standard, it's this, it's that, but now I'm mean. So going forward, I will be skipping over your scenes then, because I don't want to be mean, I don't want to offend you. And
let's be honest, for the most part, Dr. Wendy's scenes, like her own individual scenes, are usually scenes I'm like, okay, next. I'm being honest.
I'm telling you this story not to bash.
But I say all that to say, when Wendy's interacting like we saw last season with the other women and holding people accountable by bringing up stuff like, well, you can't say this when you did this. I appreciate those scenes. So I do appreciate Dr. Wendy in these other scenes with the group, but her personal scenes at home, I'm usually like, besides this week when her son was like, you're not a doctor.
Anybody, but to just let you know why I'm not going to be going hard for any of these housewives, especially on Potomac. And let's just get this straight. When you sign up for a reality television show, you open yourself up to be critiqued and talked about. And I don't like how thin-skinned a lot of these housewives are. They think that support means you can never say anything about them. And that's just not how it goes when you're a public person. Obviously, everybody's due respect. Fans should not be able to talk to you crazy. And you do have the right to check viewers if they are saying some crazy stuff, calling you out your name, calling you slurs. Then you have the right to go off. But when we're talking about a general critique from your behavior on a show that you willingly signed up for, you forfeit the right to say, well, you can't talk about me. But I will say this is a valuable lesson on not getting that invested into these shows. Because, baby, you go hard defending people more than they defend themselves, and then they turn around and call you mean or say they never even wanted your support in the first place. No, ma'am, no, sir. So, respectfully, if somebody gets bopped upside the head, popped in the eye, I'm going to say, oh, wow, that's so sad. I'm sorry to see that, and move along. And again, it's no beef. It's no ill will towards anybody. I'm not angry at anybody, but I'm just moving accordingly. But without further ado...
And look, there is no beef. And I've talked about this with Brooke. And of course, Brooke is very mature. And if you follow her channel, then you know, what could Brooke have said that would have been construed as mean? Because that's a big word. It's not just saying like, I didn't like what you said about me the other day. It was not the nicest. But to call someone mean, that is a lot. That is a lot. But like I said, when Brooke told me, I was like, Brooke, I'm not shocked. I've heard things from behind the scenes about Dr. Wendy not being the friendliest. So when we look at the Kiarna stuff and everything that Kiarna says, it's very much sort of like what's happening with Gertie during this Real Housewives of Miami reunion, where she's not able to articulate herself. I do believe that what Kiarna is saying is a reach. The specifics that she's giving, I'm like, Kiarna, really? These are the examples of a reach? But I also wonder and it's because I know this story before watching this new season, it made me wonder, were there other little things that Dr. Wendy has done behind the scenes that have kind of like irked Kiana? And she's just like, okay. And is that what's triggering her to not necessarily point out those other moments, but she's pointing these out, or these are the ones that production's actually sharing to make Kiana look crazy? I don't know. But Kiana, you better get all of your receipts together in regards to your examples, because I will say, based on what they've shared so far, it feels like a reach. It feels like you're trying to be relevant on this show off of having an issue with Wendy, which is not going to land well, especially if there really is no solid evidence. Now, if Brooke came on the show and she was just like, well, this woman said this about me, and I'm like, what did I do to you but support you endlessly, to the point where people were like, girl, why are you supporting her so much? You're biased, blah, 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 blah. So I had to talk about it because we talked about it I talked about it yesterday during our Real Housewives of Potomac premiere recap. I talked about it during the Kempire After Dark, the Villain Era live show in New York City. You guys saw it. A lot of you have been asking me about it, so I wanted to make sure. Go follow the Brooke Ashley. Go follow her recap as well. All of that will be linked in the description. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like this video, be sure to share this video, and be sure to turn on your notifications. Oh, and if you're not subscribed, make sure you are subscribed as well, because we don't just talk about Real Housewives here. We talk about everything in pop culture. And as you can see, I'm still not home. Still enjoying my vacation, but still working. Thank you so much for being here and for watching.